I love that. The opening. That was awesome.
Thank you. Well, you're all energized by your own song. You were
No, I was
fist
trying
pumping.
to break out in the dance, the flash mob dance. I was just really trying to freak you out, maybe.
You're very excited about your song. That's
Yeah.
good. It's nice to see
No,
you.
I love it. I think it's a fun song. I think it's inspiring and it's an anthem and it's fun.
Jay-Z was in here right when that song about New York came out on the
Oh,
last
yeah.
record, and he started fist pumping. He was so happy about his
Yeah.
song. It's great to see that. That's right.
No, I hope I never lose that. Yeah.
You've experienced these career highs and then some lows. You've said over the
Yeah.
last 10 years that you've been in front of the public. With this album, half of which you wrote yourself, you say you're feeling stronger than you ever have.
Yeah.
Why? How so?
Honestly, that's not really anything to do with my music career. Just like personally, I think you're so different in your 20s. Like I feel like I've been like multiple like from 21 to like 29. That's just you change so much, and like I feel like no one warned me. I feel like I didn't have
That
a
you would
heads up on
change?
that. No, that like you just I feel like I didn't know you'd go through so many. Not even just like because I'm in the public eye, just normal person
Right.
20s stuff, like
Right.
what you want to do, like if it's what you're doing, like if your job is what you want to do for your life, or spiritually or relationship wise, like there's just I'm so different, like so I don't know, I'm looking
But you
forward
feel
to my
stronger.
30s. No, I feel great, like right at the end of 28 and especially 29. I don't know, I feel like I've always been kind of confident in my skin. I think that's Texan. That's like born in us or something, like is bred that way. But I think like, I don't know. I think, by 30, like late 20s, you really have it more figured out of like what your more beliefs are, whether it's politics or religion or for yourself.
You
like
have a better
just-
sense of yourself.
Yeah, you have a way better sense
Are
of
you
yourself.
30 yet?
In 2 months, April 24th.
And how do you feel about that?
Awesome. I'm not one of those people.
Not
My
freaked
brother.
out by that?
No, not at all. I am so looking forward to my 30s. My brother's going to be 40 soon though, and he is freaking out.
But so aging, even though you're in a youth obsessed business, isn't
Yeah.
something that's daunting to you.
No, I think because everybody is so just like troubled by it. That's why I'm not. I'm just like, I don't know. I think like we as a society, sometimes we focus on just not just aesthetics, just like materialistic things that just aren't going to matter at the end of the day. We're all going to get old. We're all going to get wrinkly. We're all going to like smell. We're going to be like in diapers from when we're born to like when we're old. And it's always going to happen like that. And I think people, if they just like accept like everybody, like I was made this way, this is me, and this is how I'm happy. And I just think if people accept that, you'll have a much better life. Like
Right.
I think people focus so much, and it's not, and they try and convince themselves like, oh, I'm doing it for me, and I'm like, no, you're not. You're doing it because other people kind of force that on subconsciously or whatever.
Do you think it's easier to say that because you're fresh faced and 29?
No, I think I always get like, are you kidding? I get scrutinized like since Idol.
Right.
Like I've always been the odd man out on that.
But
so.
not about being old looking though. The aging thing is not something that they've
Oh
foisted
no, not
on
like
you.
old, but I don't know why. Like I love whenever you see a woman and she's just like aged like gracefully and it's
Right.
beautiful. Like I think that, and I think it's weird when you try and take all the lines away because that's experience, that's life, that's like, and I'm so animated. I'm gonna be like a Shar-Pei. What are they called? Like those dogs that have like the face. I'm so
Right.
animated. I'm so screwed. But like I love that though. When you see life like as it's supposed to be, like kind of, I think my generation is gonna be like a little more hesitant of doing a lot of stuff that like maybe our parents' generation were a part of. So
Meaning getting your face altered?
not even just your face altered, yeah, just like all the aesthetic appeal. Like I think it just kind of became a big boom in that whole time, like that whole generation. It's like what everybody kind of did, and like I have no problems. I have friends that have family members that have stuff done. Like I'm not against it at all. I just
Right.
for me personally, like I'm happy. So
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, seeing Lindsay Lohan on SNL on the weekend, she doesn't look like she did before, and she's only
I
25.
didn't see it, but I heard it was funny.
Well, yeah.
But no, I didn't
In
see
terms of artistic strength, in terms of the stronger that part that comes with your music, what did you want to do differently with this record?
You know what? The biggest difference with this record was his name is Jeff Aldrich, and he is the best A&R guy ever. In the sense of like, it was our first time to work together, and he actually like YouTubed the heck out of me. Like all my covers, all my songs that I've sung that were just mine, like on tour. Like he invested in me, and was very respectful about the whole process. And I, in turn, was very respectful. Like my manager, like all three of us as a team, made the best album I've made yet. So, and I think that that's where the strength comes from. It's being in a positive environment to where it's just respectful.
Why is it the best sounding record you've made? Yeah.
It's the best sounding record because I freaking hate going into a studio and people will alter my voice and make me sound like a robot. And I'm like, you might be used to working with people that need that, but I don't want that or need that.
And that happened in the past?
Oh my God, have you heard my record?
Yes, I have. I'm making sure you confirm this for us.
Yeah, I'm like, no, and it drives me, that's partly the reason why I can't ever listen to myself, because it's like...
You don't listen to your old records?
No, I don't listen to my new record either. I just don't like listen to myself. I mean, what the hell?
Well,
I'm
you
not
were
gonna
just fist
sit in
pumping
my
to that
car
song.
like jamming to myself. Like, no, I don't do that. But I just can't stand like... I like when something sounds off key sometimes. I like when it sounds emotional like that. Like,
Right.
It doesn't bother me. Like, it kills me. Like, and that was a big thing with like working with Greg and also working with Rodney Jerkins. Like, I wanted it to sound like my live vocal. Like, the mics we used. Like,
And especially because you can sing, right?
well, and
You're
it's
a
kind
singer.
of upsetting. Like, you work your butt off in a studio and then you hear it on the radio and I sound like a robot.
Right.
I'm like, what?
So that was very frustrating for you over
That's
the last
extremely. That's like understatement of the year. But yes.
decade.
Yeah.
And what was the turning point where you felt like you could now really
Well, I was
control
always
the means
afraid
of
of being-
production and make sure that you don't have your voice manipulated?
Well, I was always afraid of being, and that's kind of because I'm a very nice person. I think people take advantage of that. Like, I'm very easygoing. I'm not very diva at all, and I think people take advantage of that a lot of times with me. And so, it kind of took this record. It was like putting my foot down, going, especially on the last record. That's when I really started doing it. Going, I don't want to sound like that. Like, I don't want my whole record to sound like I'm a freaking robot. That I don't want to sound like everybody else. I want to sound like me. And I think I won a singing competition. So obviously people think I can sing. I'm like, but it's not even that the producers are trying to offend you. It's like they're so used to their formulaic habits. Like, it's like they're used to, like, it's, I don't even mean anything to them. I just come to a studio. There are certain producers you work with. You walk into the studio, they just have you sing the song that Kesha or Katy Perry or Avril or anybody else could have sang, Pink, anybody. And they didn't care who sings it. It's not like they're like invested in Kelly Clarkson. They're invested in their songs.
Right.
And so, and that's cool if you want to be that kind of person. I don't want to work with people like that. So I finally just started putting my foot down, going, no. Like, I mean, I'd rather just not have a record because it's not happy and it doesn't make me happy, and therefore my career is not going to blossom.
So all that time that you had those platinum selling records, all those records that have been hit records.
Not
the
all of
first
them.
one,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And the second one, it was a little less, but it was still. I mean, you've done well.
Yeah.
All
But
that
I just
time,
meant
there's
not
been
all of them are like that.
okay.
Yeah,
but
not all
there's
those
been
singles
this
are like
inner
that.
turmoil around the music is out there. You got a hit record, and yet
Yeah.
you feel like that's not totally you.
Well, because let me tell you the most upsetting thing that happens to me. It doesn't happen to me as much on this record, like all the meet and greets like I have on tours, whenever I meet with the fans before the show. And the most upsetting thing I hear, like I've heard for a decade, is, oh my God, you sound way better live. And I'm like, what? I'm like, first of all, that shouldn't happen. You should sound better on I mean, you should be able to capture that on record, and it's upsetting because it's like, wow, yeah, you sound like way better. Like, you sounded like so many artists on that song, but like now I can hear like you in it. And I'm like, it's frustrating. As I love music probably more than the average human being, and it's just frustrating when you hear something soulless and vanilla, especially when the artist isn't that way.
and you're
like-
confident as a singer. I mean, you just
Yeah.
did the Super Bowl. That was live.
Well, that was not confident. I was terrified.
You were fantastic.
I was
tweeted
terrified.
about you.
Thank
You
you.
were fantastic, but one could also tell that it was live, and I loved that.
Yeah, which I love. I'm
and-
like that. You need that.
And did
Like,
anybody say you should lip sync this or something?
No. I just was terrified just because the whole everybody killed Christina for messing up the lyrics the year before, and I was like, we're human. I'm like, I mean, I'm gonna mess up lyrics sometimes, like. You know, and then like people would bring up people they compare you to, and I'm like, well, they didn't do it live. Like, I'm like, you know, they just recently in the past, I think, 8 years, like started letting people do it live, like they didn't used to. But I love it live.
good.
I think it's more human.
Let me ask you about the lyrics, because this album has this through line of empowerment. Stronger is the name of the record, which is often a musical subject of yours. You speak your mind in these lyrics. You unleash some angst along the way. There's a lot of great songs have been written about non-empowerment, about things going badly or people having a dismal future.
Yeah.
Why are you so consistently interested in singing about empowerment?
I think my goal is, just as a person, especially in a creative sense, is I love even like songs like Because of You. That's a horrible situation, but I like taking the negative and turning it into a positive. I like overcoming a struggle. I like overcoming any hurdles. And I think that's what I mean. That's the kind of movies I like to watch. That's the kind of music I like to listen to. Like, I just think that we need those reminders because sometimes life is really hard, and like it's a great thing to like be able to listen to that and like. Be
and
empowered.
How much are you that person who's able to see? Who's the glass half full? Who's able to see the way out when those horrible things are happening to you?
I'm exactly what I sing. Like I mean, I am one of those people where in the beginning of the song, I'm like, I'll have a hard time and I'll be like, man, I just don't think I could take it. It's too much weight. It's too much weight, going on right now in my career. Like, but then at the end of the day, I turn that and it's just my person. I'm just like that in general. And I think that's probably why it bleeds through my music. Like it kind of translates there. But I don't know.
You're an optimistic person.
I am. But I'm also that person that can go, I'm also an extremist. And I can go very much the depressant way. Like I can get depressed and be like, but I think it's the innate, being in me though. Well, if I am depressed about something, that's when I usually write something that ends up turning everything around.
What
and
has the capacity to get you depressed? You don't have to get into details of what you do, but
no, I mean,
what is it that makes you the most?
What I
what's
think
hardest for you?
Creative people in general are just kind of screwed. Like I think that's how we are. We're ups and downs, and we're extremists, most of us.
Right.
And I think especially when you get into like writing mode, like especially me, like if I'm writing about like something that's really bothering me. Like when I wrote You Love Me for this record, I was probably depressed for like a good month, like a whole solid month, just because of a horrible situation that happened that kind of...
A personal situation.
Yeah, but and like what's funny is it was just like the straw that broke the camel's back. It's been happening for 10 years. Like it's just, but it was like finally it was like I was able to get that out of my system. And I think, facing those or confronting those kind of feelings like can really be... I think what depresses me is whenever it feels like the whole weight of the world is on you kind of thing. And I think that it comes from me being controlling and not allowing other people to take... I mean, and I totally realize that. And that's why
and
you
yet
get through that struggle.
It's a good thing that you're controlling when it comes to a situation of saying, I'm going to use my own vocals or whatever.
Yeah.
You're walking that line,
No, there's
right?
definitely a nice fine line.
Let me talk more about the specifics. Sorry, I've got so much I want to talk to you about. And you're a good talker, so I can tell we're going to take too much time here. And how long do I have? Do we have some time? Because I know we're just in the middle here. Yeah, all right. We got lots of time.
I'll talk fast.
Don't talk fast. You're doing great. I want to come back to this record, but I want to go back a bit. 10 years ago, it's quite an amazing story. You were waiting tables and working in coffee shops. Right before you auditioned for Idol, your apartment burned down.
Yeah.
You were sleeping in a car.
3 days.
Could you have ever imagined how fateful that Idol audition would have been?
No. Oh my God, I thought it was a joke. I mean, nobody knew what it was, and
nobody knew what American Idol was.
No,
That was
and the only thing we'd ever heard of was that show. It was on before, and it was like the Pop Stars thing, which was a joke.
Right.
It ended up being a joke, and it's like one of those things where it's honestly, I had nothing. Like I had like a box and my car, and it was like, I don't even care if it fails or whatever. I was like, it's gonna pay rent, it's gonna like get food in my stomach,
But you had
and
a record
everything.
deal that you'd said no to.
I got offered 2 record deals when I lived in LA before. Right after high school, I moved to LA. But one of them, they wanted me, which is like the constant battle of my life, P.S., but they wanted me to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
And at the time, I was 124. And I was like, no, I'm Greek. But it's always going to be here. Deal with it. Right. I'm like, it ain't going anywhere. And I didn't get anything up top, so I'm keeping the bottom. So it's just like, I never wanted to work with, that's the difference. Like, I don't want to be famous. Like, I've never wanted it that bad.
You don't want to be famous.
I know, I would turn it down. Like that, I turned it down.
Right.
Or the other one, they wanted complete control, basically, of like everything I did. And I don't think that that's living. I think that I should be a
What did you want
part of
when you
everything.
went for that audition for American Idol? If you didn't want
Honestly,
fame?
I was just, I knew I was going to get paid for singing something. And I was like, let's do it. I didn't even know it was a TV show till the 3rd audition.
But I've heard you say this thing about that you're not in it for the stardom and the fame. And I do believe that you love the music. But you work pretty hard at this for someone who doesn't want the fame. I mean, you're
Yeah,
here
but I
right
work hard at the music part. Like, I don't ever, you never see me in tabloids. I don't live in LA. I don't live in New York. I don't live, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't go in that limelight. I don't even hang out with people in my industry. I hang out with people in the country world. Like, I don't even like, it's just like a way of life that I'm not, I think it's really great what you can do with fame. I've been able to help out a lot with some organizations and charities and shining a light on things that need it. But like,
You're not interested in being on the cover of Us